Hi and welcome to my program today. And today we've got Basit Shah from AKrington Surgicals right here in the studios to talk about surgical and medical supplies that they supply to the NHS, which are manufactured in Pakistan. So let's welcome Basit Shah on the program.
Thank you very much, Shaghofta. Hi.
How are you?
Not too bad at all.
So I'd just like to know, how did AKrington Surgicals actually come about?
Well, it came about some time ago, over 17, 18 years ago. It has actually started from a very, very small area from Accrington. The MD have actually, I don't know whether he's watching this program or not, but the MD actually started from his cellar. And he was working, he actually struggled, and he was going day in and out to the hospitals. And it took him over a number of years before he actually the company became so popular. And in 2008, we are now in a building which is in Accrington. The warehouse is there. And it's basically supplying to over 300 hospitals and PCTs in the country.
I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. And the thing is, like with Sialkot in Pakistan, they actually manufacture 2/3 of the world's surgical medical equipment. Now that is absolutely fabulous news, but what I want to know is, with a country like Pakistan, you must have surely have faced tremendous difficulties. And I know this because we get messages all day long on Facebook talking about the electricity shortage. So did that affect your business when you deal with companies abroad, especially in a country like Pakistan?
Well, if you look at first of all, what we've got to look at is how they manage that. Because the companies in Pakistan do understand and they live in that, so they've got what you call the preventative measures there to supply to their customers. So it's not, say, for example, AKrington Surgical are their customers. There are hundreds and thousands of others that buy from Sialkot. And what they basically tend to do, they've got other resources to make sure if the electricity go out, and they put the the generators that runs with the diesel, the petrol, etc. So they do have other resources. Your question relating to about the impact, yes, it had made impact in economically, because obviously the price goes up, and with the electricity that's fine, but when they use diesel there's more cost to it, and that cost impact on our businesses, not just us but across, you say. But then that impact, that put us in a position where how how competitive we are then. So we've got to look at the balance, you say. But I mean, to be honest, so far they have not let us down in a sense that delay the process. Yes, economically it has made an impact, but not in relation to delaying the supplies. So they do provide us with the goods on time, just in time, let me put it this way. And the other issues that we have, the only issues that we have, if, for example, there are other difficulties that's taking place in Pakistan in relation to the riots.
Because Pakistan has a very unstable government, you know, in previous years. So how does that affect business?
Well, in business term, it hasn't affected us.
Okay.
Right, in business term, it hasn't affected. The reason, if you look at, right, I mean, we have actually dealing with only 2 or 3 suppliers, one manufacturers in Pakistan for the past 20 years, right? And the reason that we have been, we going back to them because it's the quality, you say, and the impact of the lack of government, the instability, political, that doesn't affect our business at all whatsoever. And the reason is because they know that they have good customers here, and the political kind of creatures doesn't don't have that influence over us.
I mean, never mind Pakistan, but we all know it's very difficult working with the NHS simply because of the budget cuts that are introduced year in, year out. So how do you remain competitive when you have all these issues in Pakistan in terms of electricity, impact on diesel, and also the NHS introducing budget cuts every single year? So how does that affect profit margins?
Well, I tell you, there are a number of, if you look at in the past, right, I mean, we've got 2 or 3 different types of products. There is reusable, and there is a single use, and then SSD. But the reusable is quite, I would say, costly. And what the government, NHS, since the cuts have actually introduced here, what the government have actually done, well, the hospitals, the NHS have actually done, start demanding for single use. Single use items are competitive and they're not a lot of profit margin, but the quantity of that quite a lot, you see. So they save money in different ways. What we basically do is we meet their demands by providing that. So if, for example, this reusable were quite costly, then we're now providing the single-use items, products, which is doing the same thing. What they do is they use it once, they throw it. Right, but some of the items, if you look at, to be honest with you, they're so qualitative, you can't tell, if you're looking at it, you can't tell the difference between the reusable and the single-use.
I mean, there was a documentary on surgical medical equipment from Pakistan, and what would you say to your critics about the standard or the lack of standard with goods from Pakistan? What would you say to them? What are the safety control procedures that are in place?
Well, you've got to look at a number of ways. One of the things that you've got to look at is your own standard and your own ethical policies, you see. So what we do, we have an ethical policy that we introduce to our suppliers and our manufacturers. Within that ethical policy, there is a labor market, child labor. I mean, if that's taken place, we will not be dealing with it. If, for example, the quality and the standard of working is not to the standard that we demand. So, you know what I mean, if you look at that's the kind of things that we will only do business with those who meet our standards.
But how do you know that any of this is going on, especially when they're based so many miles
on
the other side of the world?
That's a very good question. And the way we do it, we monitor that because every 3 months, we go and we have a framework, and we have the questionnaire, and it goes with our ethical policy. There are questions that we ask relevant to that to meet our standards. So we do that every quarter, but every now and then we do go down personally and we visit those places, and then we actually basically take that form with us and just say, right, okay, so you do this, and we take that, you do this, we take that, and if it is fine, if there are any areas that needs improving, we will make recommendations that this area needs improving, you see. So this is how we do that. So it's ethical policy that every businesses that need to adopt, right? Yes, you can have standards here in this country because it's not that you want to do it, it's because you have to do it, right? And what we have done, we haven't done it because we have to do it, we did it because it's a best practice that we need to carry out. And that's where our customers will looking at as well. So if they're asking us that we want to see your ABCD, we will say, yes, you can have ABCD, but you can have EFGH as well. So these are the kind of things that you're going to put, and this is where that we were at one point. I mean, really, 3 years back, there were 3 companies on the NHS supply chain. Yes. We were one of the 3rd. And that is a huge achievement.
People. I think that just really does deserve a round of applause. I mean, many congrats for that. So what I'd like to know is, how do you become a part of the NHS supply chain? How did that come about?
I think it's just came out. It's the product, you say. It's unique. It was niche at the time. Not many people were in it. So we look at the potential. There were potential there. And we looked at a number of different things, and obviously we done a research. We looked at there was a gap in the market. There were only a number of companies that was doing what we were doing, what we wanted to do.
Did you want to take time out?
Yeah.
Okay. Just bear with us for 2 minutes, people. Right, so basically what I'd like to tell people is that with Sialkot in Pakistan, they're manufacturing over 1 million products, which then is, like I said earlier, delivered to two-thirds of those medical supplies are being manufactured in the country. And there's been a lot of bad press in terms of Pakistan, in terms of doing business abroad, import, export, and the whole international business trade that there is. So we're today, we're going to discuss this with Basit Shah and see how they, overcame some of these challenges, or how they were successful over the last 17 years. So, Mr. Basit Shah, how have you remained in business over 17 years?
Well, going back to the original question, you see, I think some of our businesses, when I talk about our business, I'm talking about particularly the Asian businesses, some of them are very, very successful. And they're successful because they've done their research, you see, and they've done their marketing. When you do your marketing, that's where you have the success. But then you've got to have a business plan. If you don't have a business plan and you don't have the quality, you say, to be honest with you, you may have a short life, you say, you may do well in a short period of time, then you go down the drain.
I'd like to know who writes these business plans? Where do you find time from doing business, working with the NHS, suppliers who are abroad, so you've got to go visit them, make sure they're complying, and nothing unethical is happening there. So then you've got this business plan. We've talked about this in previous shows, and the dilemmas of the business plan. So who's involved in your team? How many people in your team, and how do you manage all this workload?
Well, there are 13 people within the team, obviously, because as the NHS made cuts, we had to make cuts too. And every single person has got its own roles and responsibility. We've got people who do our marketing. They're going all around the country. They have their own territory that will basically go out to hospitals and keep going there and promoting the company, promoting the goods, as well as introducing the new products that comes into the market as well. And the other part that we do about the business plan, we do have two different ways of having that. Even if you say, for example, if you don't have someone who could actually write up a business plan, there are lots of opportunities that you could do. There are consultants that you can have someone who you can bring in and buy in, probably with a small amount of money, or you can have someone who can just guide you, and you can do it yourself. You also have the what do you call the business, the businesses. That who could help you. There are a number of different opportunities that who could write up your business. But at the end of the day, it's not about who write your business plan. Business plan, not just for the sake of a business plan, it's got to be relevant, it's got to be punctual, and it's got to be smart.
Can I just ask, with the NHS, is it very difficult working with them for the amount of changes that they introduce? How do you stay on top of the changes that the NHS introduces every single year?
Well, it's just like everything else. It's just like that you are in another business, right? I mean, you've got to look at fashion, for example, and fashion changes every day, model change, everything changes. So you've got to be on top of that. You've got to do the search. So when you have websites, you see, and then because you are on the NHS supply chain, they inform you, they feed you, they basically, send you the information as to what is it that they need, they require. You do your marketing as well. So there are a number of ways to do that. It's just like a fashion. Yes, I mean, if you're not on top of the game, you can't survive, because you've got to be on top of everything. And that happens with your marketing. Because, I mean, you've got your marketeers who were there in the hospitals, who were there out there in the PCTs, on the street, talking to people. Then from office, we are in touch with the strategic, the suppliers, the procurements, and obviously, so communication is the focal point of being on top and being informed of the new products or anything new that's coming into the market.
Yeah, what I'd like to know is, like, over the last 17 years, for the amount of changes, and you've had to constantly innovate and stay on top of this. Now, medical surgical supplies is a very specialist product. It's not something that the everyday person would just go out as a consumer and buy. So how do you expand as a business? How do you make growth?
Well, I tell you what, right, when we first started, we only had over 10, 50 different types of products. Today, we have over 3,000 to 5,000 different types of products, you see, within the NHS. So you grow, you see, you gotta, like I said, you've got to develop a business plan. In that business plan, you've got to kind of leave room for maneuver as to this is what you're doing, this is what's in the market, this is niche, although within the NHS trust. So this is what you think you can do. Then you've got to look at other things, right? Okay, you've got to look at your financial circumstances as well, and you can't basically supply everything that's that's there. You've got to look at what's your kind of area, for example, and then what you're going to do to say plan that to say by year 2012. This is what I am going to do, and these are the products that I will supply. So two ways to looking at: A, economic, your finance. You've got to look at whether you've got the capacity to do that. Build, if you don't, then build your capacity, build links with others, and keep going there and revisit your business plan. And I have to say that, revisit, and then your standards. For example, if it's like a grocery shop, right? Some grocery shop, they're only fruit and veg. Some delicatessen, you say. So they do everything. What we basically do, we've got a fruit shop, and we're not basically doing everything that's needed within the NHS trust. What we are basically picking, what basically within our remit, what is that we can do, and what would be more popular within the market.
Thank you. And what message would you give the government today about supporting Asian businesses, especially businesses that are specialists like yourselves?
I would say what the government can do, there are a number of things that the government can do. They need to support, under the current circumstances, the government have actually enforced, right, some standards, you see. With the standards, they haven't provided any resources. So if we are going to provide the standard, and yet they are going to make cuts, you say, and we can't compete because of the standards and the quality. If we maintain quality and standard, then we need resources. What's lacking here is that the government need to kind of revisit their policies and procedures, you say, as to how best we could support businesses like small businesses, SME, or large businesses. On the other side, I think what they should do is to monitor businesses who is doing well, award them for that. Not just basically award them, give them a trophy, but award them to grow that business and bring more employment into the industry. The other part that they can do also, if we are, for example, the last 2 years in the Sialkot and the Panorama, that was a huge kind of a negative side for the companies like ours. We were okay, we did well, although within that hard time, because all customers knew that, where our products are coming from.
I'm going to have to stop you right there. People, we're going towards a break. Please do come back. We will talk about more of medical surgical supplies coming from Sialkot in Pakistan and the challenges that presents. So see you in a bit. Hi and welcome back, people. So let's go back to our conversation, which was getting really interesting, and it was to do with the documentary that talked about surgical medical supplies in Sialkot and the impact of them. So
yeah, I think that was quite a negative one for businesses like ours, because most of our products do come from Sialkot. And the good thing is we never kind of hide that. And every product that we supply, it says made in Pakistan. So what our customer did, they looked at, it says, what it is, two things that they looked at. A, our standards and our qualities. And the quality of the product were far better than the quality that has been stamped as made in Germany. The other difficulty was for those who said that the product were made elsewhere. And that's where they struggled. And they struggled, not only struggled, but they've actually gone down because the product were actually made in Pakistan. They took it to German and stamped, you say. So I think there were a number of, but we are upfront with all our customers, and it didn't make an impact on us. In fact, it did us really, really good, to be honest with you, and we were surprised with that. It did worry us first to say, what happened. But because of what we are trying to do, in our new website, what we will be doing, we will be basically kind of promoting our suppliers back in Pakistan, and it'll be a video and DVD showing the kind of team that they have there, how our products are made, and how we bring the products here, and it's all that kind of thing. So what we basically done, because for the past 20 years, that's because we have confidence, we have trust in them, they have trust in us, and I think that's where I think we did really well.
Okay, so moving on now, so what would you say to all our young people or those watching our program today, all our viewers, that they want to do import, export with Pakistan, especially with Pakistan companies who are watching this and say, right, if Sialkot can manage it with medical surgical supplies, well, how about our city or the products that we have? So with your experience in terms of import, export to Pakistan and all the licenses and all the laws that come in, what would you say to all our potential viewers who'd like to do exactly what you're doing?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say do exactly what you do, but what I will say is any businesses, if you want to develop and want to have that kind of a relationship in Pakistan, first thing that people need to do a research, not research on just the products, but research on who the people are. There are also maybe some companies that short-term based, for example. So, I mean, as we know, number of businesses, number of people have actually went there, had developed a business, but when it comes to supply, you see, and then those people were gone, there were no one were there. So, do your research first, because obviously, for young people have been born and bred here, and Pakistan is a foreign country for them. So going there, do take advice from someone like ourselves, and there may be others like that, who are actually working with them, build their relationship. So you got to start from there. Second part would be, is you got to look at your capacity as to whether you can do it or you can't do it. The third area that you need to look at, do please look at develop your business plan. Even it doesn't have to be pages and pages, just maybe a page to say, this is what I'm going to do. Look at, if those products and those people out there are credible and they can do business with you, they're not going to rip you off. And your business plan will take you further. Lastly, what I would advise everybody, everything is not, I mean, if we are doing the business, you think everything is wonderful. You got to put your time into it. You got to put your effort into it. You got to put your energy into this. And if you can do that, and if you got the time for it, and to be honest with you, you can really do it. And once you develop your business plan, all you got to do is just develop. You put bricks on it, and you'll be walking. You'll be running with it.
Fantastic. And the reason why we're talking about the business plan so much, and we were discussing this in the break that we just had, and Basit Shah, if you could just talk about this, the whole reason for having a business plan is that every so often, the UK government, it does provide funding, grants, loans, and all the rest of it. And should a funding opportunity come up, it is on a first come, first served basis, because pretty soon the pot's gone. And so if you don't have a business plan in place, you're clearly going to miss out on a fantastic opportunity.
Two things here. You see, the thing is, right, a lot of people tend to think, forget about the governance, forget about the documents that you need. All you want to do is make money. Right? That's what some people, that's the culture, you say. Now, what I advise people is you got to develop, like I said, the platform, the base, and your base is your governance, right? Your base is your documents, not just the business plan, but the policies, the standards, everything that's required, because like as mentioned, when the government do have opportunities, when they publicize those opportunities, whether it's to do with the grants or funding, the first thing that they will be looking at, the application form, fine, you could say on the application form you can do from A to Z, but when it comes to the policies and the documents, if you don't have them, to be honest with you, you will lose your opportunities. So business plan and standards, the quality, the policies, you build that first before you even walk.
I mean, one of the messages that I do frequently get on Facebook, and when we start talking about business plans and policies, they turn around and they actually say, well, we're only a very, very small business. There's only 2 of us in this business. You know, we're just a small takeaway, or we're just a small, you know, corner shop. So do we really need all of these policies and business plans and all the rest of it in place?
Obviously, the thing is, right, if you are going to be, for example, you want to run your business as a corner shop for the rest of your life and you have no